Hey everyone, it's Akenya the Empress here, and I wanted to make a special video about the number 9, Life Path 9. Many of the things I'm going to talk about here will actually apply to you too if you are a Soul Urge 9, meaning you're born on the 9th or the 18th or the 27th. And, today is the 9th day of the 9th month of a 9 year. 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. And I'm a Life Path 9, and I think about it a lot because it's a big task, this particular life path. And I wanted to offer my viewpoints on it that I have observed personally, I've experienced myself, I've seen in other Life Path 9 friends I've had, or people born on the 9th, 18th, 27th often exhibit a lot of these qualities as well. But I never see anyone talk about it. So I'm going to call this my inside scoop on 9, the qualities about the 9 that you don't hear that you're probably not going to find anywhere else. So let's dig into it. Okay, first we have to get into the fact that 9 is ruled by the planet Mars. All numbers have a planetary ruler associated with them. This is going to be really instrumental in understanding how numbers work from a numerological standpoint, from a vibrational standpoint as well. So because of this, there's a lot of Martian qualities that are going to show up in the lives of people who are Life Path 9s in particular. One of the things I've noticed actually is that if you are a 9, there is something regarding your gender or your sexuality, or how those two things are intertwined and how they show up in your identity, that are going to be a little complicated. I see a lot of queer or androgynous or genderqueer or trans, or there's something going on with that. And if you think about what Mars is connecting to, it will actually make a lot of sense, because this is life force energy. Well, it's 2 reasons why this is showing up actually with Life Path 9. One is because of Mars, and Mars is life force energy. So, it connects us to the root chakra. This is the base of where you would find Kundalini energy, which is also why 9 can be the most spiritual path, which we'll get to that later. But this energy, it's very sexual in nature, but it's sexual in the sense that it is responsible for the expression that we connect to, being physically manifesting. So you'll see a lot of, you'll see a lot of androgyny, or like Prince was Life Path 9. Whitney Houston was Life Path 9. Like, we know that she kind of struggled with her queerness. I've just seen I know a lot of Life Path 9s, and there's usually something non I'm going to use the term non-binary about the gender or the sexuality coming up here. So it's the Mars piece, and it's also the fact that 9 is an amalgam of every number that comes before it. So there's something universal about 9, and this is going to show up in its self-expression, including, of course, something as kind of baseline as one's gender expression, one's sexual expression, these things that we can connect to that kind of Martian life force energy principle. Okay, also in this regard, actually, life path nines can be like, can be really hedonistic. This can be like, you know, the fuck boy. Actually, you know, you hear all the time like, oh, it's so spiritual, but like everything about the path that the 9 has to confront is going to be either them being on that path or being opposed to that path or being adjacent to that path. Like, it's not a given that you're just automatically on the path of heightened spirituality because you're a 9. Actually, again, because of this Martian energy, this Martian component, this root chakra energy, 9s can be very caught up in base level hedonistic shit. Their ego, I mean, the egos that 9s can have is fucking incredible. Like, these can absolutely be very arrogant people. These can be people who are sex obsessed or even sex addicted. It can be more superficial, even in terms of the things that they're attracted to or value. And like, this would be the most base level, non-evolved form of 9 energy, and that absolutely can happen. And there will be typically a way that like 9 is grappling with their, what could be their faith or their spiritual beliefs and their very strong desires and desire nature. So, you know, you're not automatically some guru just because you're a life path 9. Although a lot of people who are 9s, I actually see this a lot with people who are born on the 9th, the 18th, and the 27th, even more so, like this particular quality, even more so than the life path 9 is like, you could just think you're the shit. You know what I mean? You could just be very, very into yourself, very into, you know, what it is you're trying to do, what it is you're trying to achieve, what it is you want to experience in terms of, you know, your desires. So, you know, there's definitely a low vibrational flip side to 9. And there's a way that like 9 is going to be grappling with this throughout their life. A lot of 9s can actually sing. So I said Prince is a 9, Whitney Houston was a 9, Bob Marley was a 9. There's like a lot of incredible singers who are 9s. Andrea Bocelli is a 9, Cher's a 9, Adele's a 9. Like, there's a lot of people who are known for that, who have this particular life path, and it's because Mars rules the head. And if you don't know this, I'm going to do a separate video on this. I've actually been needing to make a separate video about this for a long time. It's long overdue, the astrology of singing. But touching on that, again, because Mars rules the head, the majority of sound is happening in the head, right? Yes, you know, Taurus rules the throat, and we associate that with a good voice as well, or Venus. But most of your resonance and how you're shaping your sound is actually happening in your mouth and in your head and in your face. So a lot of Martian or Aries dominant people, and connecting it here too with 9, will have vocal ability. They'll have the ability to have, you know, a good, clear, resonant voice. Just one other thing I've noticed. So 9 mathematically is a very unique number, and this I have seen expressed in some videos, but I haven't necessarily seen it like further synthesized in how this shows up for people who have this life path. So as I said, everything 9 is kind of an amalgam of everything, meaning like if you do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8, you're going to get the number 9. If you keep reducing it down. In numerology, there's an idea that like we always reduce down until we get a single digit number, unless it's a master number where you keep it, but it will still have qualities of both regardless. And so that breaks down to a 9. But also if you add 9 to anything, you will get that number. So let's say 9 plus 3. Okay, that's 12. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3. So 9 is kind of everything and nothing at the same time. It's like an amalgam of everything, but also kind of almost functions like a 0 at the same time. And so because of this, there is a lot of innate empathy that 9 can have, because it's like it can understand the quality of everyone else because it has that innate in it. But the problem with that is when 9 shows up in any kind of situation, whoever they're with or whatever group they're in, they will, well, on the one hand, they're going to feel very comfortable. 9 is very good at making people feel comfortable in the sense that it can adapt. It's an adaptable, it's a very mutable number, which I think also actually ties into the kind of androgyny, sexually fluid thing I was talking about too. It's probably the most mutable number there is. And so on the one hand, this creates an empathy they have, a universality they have, and a way that other people are going to feel comfortable in their presence. But the downside is 9 can have a hard time feeling authentic when they're around other people, or like their true self is always like readily accessible or unchanging. And so this can create further like identity issues or identity confusion for 9, because it can seem like 9 can take on the qualities of who they're around when they're around them. But there's a way that this can actually be something that is more, again, spiritually evolved, when you think of the fact that, like, in essence, we do all have all the qualities of everybody. Like, we really are actually all one. We're all interconnected. And so there's something, if 9 can understand that, like, these things that come out when you're around certain people, it's not that you're solely mimicking or mirroring them, but this is a facet of you coming out, then there's a way that 9 can actually have a greater chance of true like self-individuation and self-acceptance, which then translates into acceptance of others more than other life paths and other signs. 9 does usually have kind of a difficult upbringing or like kind of a hard life. There's usually a lot going on, again, because it's kind of this combination of everything. So complex lives, typically the early lives are a little rough. Not always, we're talking about one thing, and there's obviously things that can mitigate. There are things that can mitigate anything of what I'm saying, but I've just observed the same thing kind of over and over and over and over again. They will often have complicated relationships with both of their parents, actually. But there is some kind of hang up, particularly around the father, that tends to come out with Life Path 9. Is interesting. But yes, there's usually like a very complex family dynamic or something that they're dealing with. Sometimes it's abuse, sometimes it's abandonment. But yeah, that's something to look at when you're dealing with someone who's Life Path 9, because that usually is more prevalent in shaping their identity and worldview than other life path numbers. Okay, now 9 is considered to be the number of completion. You do hear this said. There's a lot of spirituality kind of embedded in this, and mathematics embedded in this. Because even if you think about a circle, which we could say is a cycle, and thinking about the cycle of completion, a circle is 360 degrees, and 3 plus 6 is 9. And damn near any way that you can divide up a circle is going to lead back to 9. So there's something very cyclical about 9, and there's something that you could even say is kind of, holy or spiritual in this sense about 9, because we can see we have the ability to reach a full sense of like enlightenment or awareness when we have this number, even just thinking about it mathematically. And then in a religious sense, like in Christianity, nine has a holy connotation, like it's there are 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. Christ himself died in his 9th hour on the cross. Like there are ways that this thing shows up in correlation to the idea of completion. And in other religious groups as well, 9 can often be considered to be kind of pure or kind of just spiritual in its essence. One thing that's difficult for 9 though is actually getting to completion, is like actually, because in order to have completion, there's a level of like letting go that you have to be comfortable with. So life path 9s can almost feel like they're in this consistent state of mourning, in a sense, or longing to go home, or preparing to leave, or like there's this kind of theme through the life of life path 9s. But actually, like, being able to let go or being able to fully realize things can be very difficult for 9, because this is the thing that they're figuring out, in essence, is like to let go, and in some cases to let go of all worldly attachments in general. But this is the thing that they will be plagued with in many ways throughout their life. Also, I like to think about other, modes of esotericism when thinking about this. So we talked about like numerological stuff, mathematical stuff, astrology a bit. There are actually, in a way, there are some like Jupiterian, Sagittarian qualities you could associate with 9 as well. But from a tarot standpoint, there are 2 major arcana cards that we connect with 9, and that's the Hermit and the Moon. And both of them have like kind of an elusive nature to them. The Moon itself actually connecting to the idea of illusion, mystery, things that are unseen, things that aren't fully realized yet. How apropos. And then the Hermit, which is, this kind of wise figure walking a path by itself. So solitude can be a theme, a really, really prevalent theme in the lives of 9 dominant people. And it's through that solitude, like the solitude is not meant for isolation's sake. The solitude is meant for introspection and reflection, so that the knowledge and the information that is gained through these periods, or by walking this path, can be shared with all of humankind. So 9 is known as the archetype of the humanitarian, but that's how, like, it may not be a humanitarian path where you're literally like out there with the people. It may actually be a more insular, solitary path, and then you share that wisdom or that knowledge or that love with the collective that you had to kind of go within to understand. So I really view 9 as a path of gnosis, of like really understanding like that true inner awareness and enlightenment when it's at its highest vibration. So yeah, that's my 9 video. I wanted to share these things with you. There's many other things I could say, and many other things that I'm sure I'll continue to observe as my own life unfolds, walking this path, and as I continue to meet other 9s and connect the dots of other famous 9s or prominent 9 figures we've had. But yeah, it's a beautiful number. It's a special number. Literally, mathematically, nothing else functions the way it does. And it's an important path to walk, but it's not all sunshine and roses, and it's not all high vibration all the time. It's not like, oh, you're just so wise and you just know everything from jump. Like, there's a lot in terms of actually getting to that path and trying to stay on it and aligned with it, and aligned with your true self and the true expansiveness of self. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I might be talking about numerology more, so let me know if you all are interested in that. Quick side note, Soul Urge is not the date you're born. I misspoke. That's just your birthday number. All right, take care.